It is better to be single after the age of 70. According to 7 Grounds, Elderly Wisdom. Counsel for the elderly. You may have found that certain connections begin to feel more like obligations than blessings. Have you ever noticed this? Most likely, if you are in your 70s or older, you have spent decades providing care for other people, such as raising children, providing financial assistance to a spouse, or maintaining a household. And at this point, you might be thinking what life would be like if you simply had a little bit more serenity, a little bit more place to breathe, and a little bit more time for yourself. There is no subject of loneliness in this video. When it comes to companionship, it is not about giving up. Something more profound is at play here. It is about the shocking reality that for many people over the age of 70, being alone can actually lead to more freedom, better health, and greater pleasure than remaining in a partnership that is emotionally unbalanced or tense. You will soon learn 7 reasons why it is possible that being single after the age of 70 is not only acceptable, but even better than you could have ever dreamed. This movie is for you if you are a single person, whether you are divorced, widowed, or simply choose to live by yourself. In the following paragraphs, you will discover how this period of your life can be transformed into a period of expansion rather than contraction, of emotional clarity, of restored energy, and of simple delight. Stay here with me until the very end because maybe what you hear today may be of assistance to you. You are able to comprehend your life in a manner that you have never before seen. Now, let's get something going. The first reason is because long-term compromise has left me emotionally exhausted. In many cases, by the time a person reaches their 70s, they have already spent 40 or 50 years adjusting the routines, emotions, requirements, and choices of another individual. Compromises of this nature over an extended period of time can be exhausting. Even in relationships that are otherwise healthy, it is not about pointing fingers at anyone. Recognizing that the emotional energy you once had for constant bargaining or people-pleasing may be running low is the first step in this process. The things that you used to ignore, such as a raised voice, a comment that was dismissive, or always giving up your preferences, suddenly feel heavier and more taxing to you. The mental cushion that many people once had to absorb the daily frictions that they experience is no longer available to them after the age of 70. When you are no longer in a relationship, particularly one that needed you to make adjustments on a regular basis, the tension that you experience on a daily basis also fades. There is a sense of liberation that comes with the ability to pick what you eat, when you sleep, what you watch, and how you live without constantly having to take into consideration the preferences of another person. It's not about being self-centered here. The topic at hand is psychological recuperation. For example, Ruth, who is 74 years old, over the course of her 52-year marriage, she was constantly able to navigate around her husband's strong opinions. As a result of his passing, she found herself in the position of making her own choices for the first time her whole life. She also mentioned that until I stopped providing it, I had no idea how much I had given up till that point. The calm emancipation that comes from not having to bend every day is something that many senior citizens who are self-sufficient express not with melancholy but with relief. Bitterness is not a sign of this behavior. Having this realization is a sign that you have finally come to terms with your own emotional boundaries and capacity. Having that kind of insight becomes a lifeline at the age of 70. There is a change that takes place within you when you begin to prioritize your own peace over the satisfaction of other people. Your nervous system becomes more at ease. Your sleep has improved. You even smile more than usual. But you have no idea why. Occasionally, it is because you are finally living your life according to your own terms. And considering your age, that could very well be the nicest present you could offer to yourself. Second, the friction that occurs on a daily basis becomes more grating than it is soothing. Something fascinating takes place as we approach old age. When we are exposed to strain, even in little doses, our sensitivity increases. Bickering that you might have considered to be lighthearted when you were in your 40s can feel like sandpaper when you are in your 70s. in ways that are more intimate and less humorous. The ordinary eccentricities that used to give color to your relationship, such as how they loaded the dishwasher incorrectly or their tendency of falling asleep during your favorite movie, now grate against you. That being said, here is the reason why your tolerance for stress decreases as you get older. These days, your neurological system does not recover as quickly as it used to after being jolted by emotions. You would rather have tranquility than noise. Instead of making frequent modifications, simplicity, even anything as simple as a tone of voice or a protracted sigh that is heard across the room can evoke feelings of pressure on your chest. It is not that the person underwent a significant transformation, rather, it is that your physical body, mental state, and emotional reserves undergo an alteration. Moreover, there are occasions when even the most little exchanges can feel like a struggle for power. You have not signed up for this. Being alone is not a lonely experience for many people over the age of 70, rather, it is a feeling of safety. When Frank, who is now 76 years old, went through his divorce at the age of 68, he was surprised to find that his home had become so quiet. But as time went on, that silence turned out to be calming. I used to believe that I required someone to chat to during the entire day, he remarked, but as it turned out, I needed someone to whom I could not quarrel for the entire day. The realization that he has is not unique to him. According to studies, older folks express a higher level of contentment with feelings of alone when compared to younger ones. How come? Due to the fact that they have experienced loudness, conflict, caretaking, and upheaval in their lives. In addition, they have realized that silence is not devoid of meaning. There is a lot of recuperation. The fact that you find yourself walking on eggshells around your partner more often than you are walking with joy beside them is not an indication that you have failed in your relationship. It could be a message from your spirit at this moment. It's becoming old to try to negotiate peace. I simply want to make it my home. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Thirdly, the emotional scale is tipped by the burdens of caregiving. When you approach your 70s, there is a good probability that one of you is not as physically or emotionally strong as you used to be. This might be the case for either of you. That is the normal progression of getting older. However, what is sometimes overlooked is the fact that even in its most benign form, caring gradually reorganizes the dynamic that exists between two individuals. A relationship that was formerly perceived as a collaboration may in the future be perceived as a duty. In addition, imbalanced obligations have the potential to subtly cultivate feelings of animosity. For example, Martha and Bill. She and he have been married for 49 years. Due to the fact that she was in love with Bill, Martha intervened when his memory began to deteriorate. She was in charge of the paperwork, as well as the organization of the medications and the appointments. However, after 6 months of working there, she discovered that she was heaving a sigh before each and every duty. The reason she missed being his wife was not because she did not love him, rather, it was because she missed being his nurse, scheduler, and safety net simultaneously. You may experience emotional exhaustion as a result of this subtle transition, which occurs when your partner becomes someone you manage rather than someone you lean on. In addition, there is less energy available to recuperate from that exhaustion. In contrast to when one was younger, you start to wonder, when should I take a break from this? And when the response is always, never, a hint of resentment begins to seep in on the surface. There are situations when the person is not even the source of the resentment. It is about the feeling of being helpless. You observe their deterioration, and you are not merely observing them endure suffering. It is causing you to watch your own freedom dwindle alongside it. Although you feel guilty for harboring resentment toward it, your body is not lying. You really are worn out. You are quietly grieving the version of your life that you no longer have. And every time you get up to do one more thing, you are doing so. It is not true that love is no longer present. What this indicates is that the burden of responsibilities, expectations, and tiredness has obscured the joy that was once the driving force behind your relationship. Additionally, this is the point at which being single, free from the burdens of guilt or the responsibility of being a caregiver, might begin to appear as a relief, even if it is tinged with sadness. It is also the reason why some elderly people choose to live apart from their families. Not because they are angry, but because they are trying to protect themselves. Mainly due to the fact that love does not always entail tightening one's grip. On occasion, it is necessary to take a step back and express, "I am still concerned, but I need to take a deep breath." The fourth reason is the diminishing of shared novelty and the loss of curiosity. Curiosity is one of the factors that keeps relationships alive at any age. Curiosity involves not only curiosity about each other, but also curiosity about life, new locations, and new activities. On the other hand, marriages that share a sense of wonder can begin to dry up after the age of 70. Particularly in long-term relationships, as soon as you open your eyes, you sit in the same seats, discuss the same aches, and consume the same meals. And before you realize it, the days have become a haze. However, this is not because either of you is a nasty person or a dull person. Rather, it is because neither of you is adding anything new to the mix. Additionally, as time passes, the tranquility that was once a source of comfort starts to feel stale. To tell you the truth, curiosity is pure energy. Engagement is the word. It is the spark that says, "Let's go try this," or "Did you read that?" What is the spark? Even the most insignificant of talks might feel like a burden if it is not present. You inquire, "What would you like to eat for dinner?" You will receive the same old response. You recommend that we go out in this area. Perhaps the following week, no longer is the stillness that exists between you one that is filled with ease. There is a marked lack of interest in it. Quite a few elderly people are completely unaware that it is taking place. They are under the impression that this is the modern definition of marriage. But that resignation is what gradually builds up the tension within you. Because one of you may still be yearning for excitement or surprise, while the other of you has calmly accepted the monotony of the situation. The mismatch between the two of you can result in feelings of anger. Not just toward the spouse, but also toward the version of yourself that you have acquired. At this point, you begin to wonder, "When did I stop developing?" Or, even more seriously, "Why am I reducing myself to match their pace?" This is how Betty, who is 74 years old, put it. "I could not stop myself from learning Italian. Rewatching the same television episodes was all that my husband wanted to do." After some reflection, I came to the conclusion that our interests no longer aligned. And despite the fact that I wasn't technically alone, that made me feel as though I was by myself. Because of this, many people who are over the age of 70 experience a greater sense of freedom if they are no longer in a relationship. This has nothing to do with disliking their partner. When you wake up, you should have the sensation that the world is still opening up rather than closing down. This is about recovering the ability to say yes to life once more. In addition, for some people, the independence that comes with that calm is more satisfying than the companionship that remains the same. I would appreciate it if you could use the fourth comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Unspoken emotional indebtedness brings us to the fifth reason. It is not unusual for long-standing emotional wounds inside of a relationship to stay unhealed as they get older. The reason for this is not that any of the individuals is cruel, but rather that life marches on and we frequently choose peace over confrontation. But this is where the issue lies. The things that we do not discuss do not vanish altogether. Rather, it sinks even farther. It's possible that your partner has disregarded your professional endeavors for many years. It is possible that you provided more support for their family than they did for yours. Perhaps you quietly let yourself to bear the burden of caregiving, sacrifices, or even betrayals, thinking that everything was okay. That was a very long time ago. However, the reality is that those emotional debts, those silent debts that you owe me, do not disappear with the passage of time. They simply get more rigid. When a person reaches the age of 70, they have more time to contemplate and fewer distractions, which can lead to the resurfacing of these debts, which can quietly create resentment. One begins to become aware of the fact that the relationship appears to be one-sided, that appreciation was never expressed, and that genuine apologies were never offered. On the other hand, even if everything appears to be running smoothly on the surface, you can be keeping score on the inside. It is common for older couples to experience resentment that is not loud but rather slow, characterized by a quiet drawing away, an unwillingness to interact, and a growing emotional distance that is camouflaged by civility. It is possible that you may continue to cook for them, continue to go on walks, and continue to say good night, but something is no longer gentle between the two of you. It is as if the love is functional, while the kindness is mechanical. Those who study psychology refer to this as emotional bookkeeping. In the course of several decades, you compile a record of each and every disappointment, and by the time you reach the age of 70, your ledger may feel completely full. In the absence of release, open communication, or mutual acknowledgement, those entries have the potential to turn even very minor contacts into unpleasant experiences. To Harold, who is 78 years old, I spent 35 years putting her needs first. I didn't file a complaint. On the other hand, if I observe her behaving as though I owe her more, I feel a tightening in my stomach. It dawns on me that I have been repressing my emotions for decades, and I am sick and tired of doing so. Because of this, even the most stable marriages can be surprised by the emergence of anger in later years. The reason for this is that the things that were repressed in the name of harmony start to demand recognition when one is retired and there is silence. And in the event that it is not handled, it will taint the remaining time that we have together, not with yelling, but with sadness. The sixth reason is a change in one's identity and purpose. Things that we do when we are younger have a significant impact on who we are as individuals. Those jobs, those duties as parents, providers, and problem solvers that we have. But after you reach the age of 70, those outer layers start to peel away. As we enter retirement, our children move out, and our health changes. We may find ourselves staring at a more tranquil version of life. Someone who compels us to ask, who am I at this moment? Both men and women are affected differently by this question. Certain individuals rediscover their passions, friendships, or spiritual endeavors. Others have the impression that they are merely passengers in the life of another person. And when you are living with someone who is adjusting at a different pace or in a different direction, it generates friction between the two of you. It's possible that gardening and other basic activities brought you calm, but your partner is restless, irritable, and wants to travel, purchase stuff, or chase distractions. On the other hand, it's possible that you are the one who is attempting to reimagine your purpose, while they have become accustomed to watching the same shows and performing the same routines day after day. Subtle events are about to take place. The two of you start to pass judgment on one another, not necessarily verbally, but through sighs, silences, and an increasing awareness that you just do not understand each other anymore. There is a sense of emotional distance between you and this individual. Despite the fact that you have lived with them for decades, despite the fact that you share meals together, there is less warmth. While you are seated next to them, your thoughts are going in opposite directions. This phenomenon is referred to as identity drift by psychologists. It has nothing to do with love that has been lost. The story revolves around two individuals who, as they progress through the process of becoming distinct versions of themselves at different rates. Fail to identify every other person. Here is where feelings of resentment begin to surface. You begin to experience feelings of being misunderstood, in spite of the fact that you are attempting to develop, to adjust, and to make sense of this new phase of your life. Your partner either does not notice or does not care. Upon reaching retirement age, Eleanor, 74, mentioned that she had resumed her painting career. The delight that it offered me was something I hadn't experienced in years. Yet whenever I showed my husband a new piece, he hardly looked up at me. After that, I came to the realization that I was not looking for accolades. When I was looking for him to come back and see me, he either couldn't or wouldn't come back. Intentionality is not always present. There will be moments when your partner is going through their own private difficulty, and neither of you will know how to appropriately discuss it. However, as time passes, this emotional distance begins to feel like neglect, and anger begins to fill the space that was once occupied by empathy. I would appreciate it if you could use the 6th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Reason number 7. A lack of appreciation for efforts that are not evident. Around the time that you are in your 70s or 80s, you will have accumulated a long list of things that you do for each other that no one will remember anymore. Perhaps you covertly replenish the pillbox on a weekly basis, or you check to see that the temperature on the thermostat is just perfect. There's also the possibility that you are the one who remembers birthdays, refills medications, or gently encourages them to eat a little bit more and get some rest. You could walk a little further or take a little longer. It's not a particularly huge gesture. Quiet and consistent actions of compassion are what they are. Now we come to the challenging part. After some time has passed, they are no longer appreciated but rather expected. Moreover, when something becomes routine, it frequently passes without being observed. It's possible that you won't even be aware of how much this weighs on you until you find yourself standing at the kitchen sink or putting away their laundry and you feel the sting of it when you finally encounter it. It's that little voice in your head that asks, would they even notice if I stopped? The emotional exhaustion that develops as a result of the absence of love and the perception that providing care is more of a responsibility than a shared link is referred to as love fatigue. This is something that you might hear when you bring it up, which is, well, I didn't ask you to do all that. You didn't do anything to be acknowledged. Therefore, that's a very painful comment to make. Because you love me, you did it. Even love that develops over time need air. Betrayal of a significant nature is not usually the source of resentment. It is frequently the result of these insignificant omissions, the silent expressions of thanks, the unrecognized efforts, and the absence of a thank you. You start to feel more like a member of the staff than a spouse. During the times when you are alone, you find yourself wondering, when did I become invisible? In the past, whenever I made a repair around the house, my wife would express her gratitude to me. Like Harold 81 mentioned, all of a sudden, I feel like I'm supposed to do it. At some point, I decided to quit repairing things altogether. Simply put, I was curious to see if she would even notice. This is the risk that we face. After the appreciation has worn off, love becomes into effort, and the act of laboring without recognition invariably results in a bruise. I would like to conclude my ideas. Soren R. together with Martinus Soren Pitawarn. When we are younger, we often experience love, but as we become older, there is a tendency for it to become regular. And if we are not careful, that routine will eventually toughen into resentment, not because of malice, but because of years of quiet disappointments, emotional needs that have not been met, and feelings that have been neglected to be expressed. If even a small portion of your own narrative has been revealed in the information that we have presented today, you are not alone. These emotions do not indicate that the love has been lost. Those words indicate that there is a part of you that is still yearning to be seen, heard, and cared for. And there is the splendor of getting older. Not only does it bring about new difficulties, but it also brings about clarity. It is then that you begin to see what is no longer effective, and you muster the bravery to express it. Changing the energy in your relationship is something that can be done at any time. Regardless of whether you have been married for 50 years or are living under the same roof yet your distance is increasing. The act of letting go of old roles and moving into new ones jointly, as well as making little acknowledgments and having honest conversations, even at the age of 70 or 80. This is how the healing process starts. In the event that you have ever had the experience of feeling as though your partner no longer understands you, it may be time to gently assist them in recognizing the aspects of you that have also changed. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.